Hi everyone, welcome to our session. We are Mia and Rafael, buyer's agents and founders of M Portugal, a property advisory company that helps you buy and rent properties like a local. We can help you with renovation, interior design, and property management for renting out. And today we'll talk about the Portuguese real estate market and our advices on how to protect yourself when buying a property as a foreign buyer here. Since all of our clients are from overseas, we've realized there are a lot of cultural differences and misconceptions to be addressed and shared with you. So hopefully this could one day save you money, energy, and time. For more topics and real stories related to Portuguese real estate market, check out our YouTube channel as well. You can find us with our company's name, MOL Portugal. Of course, every market is different, but we want to discuss briefly how different the Portuguese real estate market is. The first big difference in the real estate market here is that we do not have a multiple listing service. We have a couple of listing websites. One of the major ones is called Idealista, but it only has 60 to 70% of the listings of the entire market. It also has a lot of duplicate listings and usually not updated. This means a lot of properties are already sold, but the listings are still active for the agents to get more context from potential buyers. And another thing is that the record of the previous selling prices of a property is not public record in Portugal. Therefore, there's lack of general indicated price for each area. So the price per square meter rule doesn't really apply here. As we have a lot of historic buildings, each property is unique. It highly depends on how it's situated, whether each room has a window, do you have a view to the neighbor's kitchen, are the stairs in the building narrow, is the villa next to a warehouse? And just to give you example, in Chiado, which is one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Lisbon, it has plenty of restaurants, boutiques, bars, and well connected with public transportation. The price per square meter can range from 4,000 euro per square meter to over 20,000 euros per square meter. This just to give you an idea how complex is the pricing of the properties here, and the price square meter is just one of the many indicators and factors to consider.
To be able to access to open market listings, keep this in mind. In Portugal, a real estate agent represents both buyer and seller. Also, each agency only has access to the listings that they are representing. This applies both for renting and for selling. And not all of the agents are keen to share their commissions with other agents. And for this reason, if you want to search in the open market, you will probably end up with several different agents from different properties or even from different agencies. Traditionally, Portugal's real estate market is a seller's market and continues to be this way even now in 2023, regardless of the global trend of the recession. Here, the market has been protected by the extremely low inventory of properties for sale, and this, combined with the high demand of purchasing, altogether results to pushing the prices up and preventing the market from crashing. So it's not a surprise that it has been increasingly difficult to buy properties with mortgage, as the sellers, for obvious reasons, don't want to wait for the mortgage procedure and prefers a cash offer buyer. With the power on the seller side, it's easy to understand that sometimes, besides the final price, the sellers can also impose their own terms and conditions and even decide to whom they want to sell the property to. And for that reason, it's important to have a good relationship with the seller and seller's agent since the beginning. We see this happening in the rental market as well. It's common the landlords now are requiring 3 or 4 months rent as a deposit, as before it was used to be just one or two. I am sorry to break it to you. The online listing information in Portugal is not 100% accurate. This might be a surprising one. And we are not talking about heavily photoshopped photos or the pictures showing the view that is from a historic town 20 minutes drive away. What we mean is when we see an online listing, the misleading information or lack of information can be the location, the size of the property, whether part or the entire property has permits, the number of rooms, and so on. To protect yourself, always make sure you call, check, vet, and verify. You really don't want to find out that you are not buying what you thought you were buying.
Okay, now we've summarized the major differences in the property market here in Portugal. If you're still here, great. So you're not being scared away. And now let's talk about how to buy a property in Portugal properly so you are protected from all the potential mistakes. First step is conduct a thorough research. Before making any investment, it's crucial to conduct a thorough research on the property market here. Look into different regions. Consider factors such as location, infrastructure, and local amenities. Also consider factors like climate, walkability in your preferred neighborhood. And most importantly, gain local knowledge. Let's take Lisbon as an example. Of course, overall, it's a very safe city, but because it's a small city, the area is very, very defined. The prices can vary from one side of the street to the other, and usually there's a reason for it. We had one client who wanted to stay close to Avenida Liberdade, which is the most prestigious avenue in Lisbon. He almost bought a property a street behind the avenue that he thought the location was very desirable for his family, as the street was very quiet and residential when he passed by. But we know as locals that street at night is one of the street almost borderlines with a potential red light district. He came to us to vet the location, so needless to say, he changed his idea about that property after talking to us. We have also talked out a senior couple of buying in Bairro Alto because of the lifestyle differences. Just in case you're wondering, Bairro Alto is the neighborhood where you can find most of the bars and night scenes, and of course, extremely happy people holding many drinks late at night or early in the morning. Another thing is to understand the regulations. I'm sure some of you pictured yourself buying a piece of land and building your dream home in Portugal, like many of our clients do. But it's not that simple. It actually never is. Especially in Portugal, the construction area is extremely strict. If you buy a piece of land that has 2 hectares, don't be surprised if the construction area for residential purposes can only be 100 square meter. And usually this cannot be changed. We know it's difficult to understand if it's your own property, why you're not allowed to build as you wish. Well, because in Portugal, there are regulations and zoning laws that govern what type of construction is allowed on private land. These regulations are in place to ensure that the buildings are constructed in a safe and sustainable way, and that they comply with the overall development plan of the region. So our focus is always to make sure the land is indeed buildable so our clients can actually realize their dream. Instead of buying a plot of land that can only be used for non-residential purposes.
A reputable real estate agent can guide you through the entire purchasing process and ensure that you make a sound investment. As mentioned briefly, a real estate agent typically only has the listings that his or her agency represents, and the agent will represent both the buyer and the seller. Buyer's agent is relatively a new concept here in Portugal. And a good buyer's agent will make sure that he searches in the open market for you, negotiate, and protect you throughout the deal. And of course, they will work very closely with the listing agent too to ensure not losing the deal. While the seller's agent keeps in mind the selling price and their commission is based on that. Look for an agent with a deep understanding of the local market, experience in negotiating property deals, and a good reputation, and understanding the Portuguese culture and code of conduct. A good agent will also be able to recommend legal and financial professionals who can assist you with the purchase. Also, more importantly, keeps his or her words, because in Portugal, a gentleman's handshake is considered as a verbal agreement. And unfortunately, not every agent has his ethical standards. We recently lost a deal for our clients. The listing agent kept arranging visits to the property even after accepting our offer. Eventually, she got a cash offer, so we lost the deal as our clients are with mortgage, and this agent told us the seller didn't want to wait for the bank. And we all knew that there's a big chance that the sellers even have no idea about this at all. Sadly, in this case, we couldn't get the deal back for our clients, but we made an official complaint to her agency and to the Association of the Realtors here in Portugal.
Now you found the property that you are very interested in. You're wondering about the final price and if you can negotiate down some margin. In Portugal, we don't really overbid. Sometimes we make full prices offers, but most commonly, we as buyer's agents always try to get the best deal for our clients. And for that reason, we advise you to dance the dance of the negotiation as well. This is a very delicate dance as it involves cultural aspect and knowledge of the local market. You actually do not want to offend anyone before you could even get a counter offer. Do your homework and see if you can try to understand why they want to sell, how motivated are they to sell, and if they're serious about selling, what they care about the most. Or are they still emotionally attached to the property? Are they actually ready to let it go? It also happens that sometimes the seller is just testing the market before making a decision of selling. Or they have some hidden agenda, as our general rule is when you feel a deal doesn't smell good and you can't really put your finger on it, move on and search for something else. If you are going for it, negotiate politely, firmly, and subtly. But before anything, make sure to pay a visit to the property in person to verify the condition of the property. By visiting the property, you can physically inspect the general condition. This can help you identify any repairs or renovations that may be necessary and ensure that you are aware of any potential costs involved. When visiting a property, use all the senses. Actually, one of the things on our checklist when we go visit properties on our client's behalf is if we smell anything weird. We actually visited one beautiful apartment on behalf of our clients. It checked all the boxes when we saw the listing online. And our clients were so excited for us to finish the visit and just tell them, yes, go ahead and buy it. But when we were waiting for the listing agent outside the building on the street, we could already smell the cigarette stench that later on we find out was actually coming from the apartment we were visiting, which was on the fourth floor. Turns out one of the owners has been smoking cigars indoor without windows open for the past few decades. In the end, we advise our clients not to buy the dream apartment as they cannot bear the cigarette smell. Although renovation can solve the smell issue in the apartment, but not when the entire building is already soaked in the smell for years.
By visiting the property in person, you can also get a sense of the neighborhood and the surrounding area. You can assess factors such as the proximity to amenities, public transportation, schools, and other important features. This can help you decide if the property is located in a desirable area and if it really meets your needs. Okay, are you ready to go? Very important. Hiring a qualified attorney is essential to protect yourself legally when buying a property. A good attorney will help you navigate the complex legal system and ensure that all necessary paperwork is in order. They can also help you identify any potential legal issues with the property, such as ownership disputes or zoning violations. The main part of their job is to conduct the legal due diligence of the property by checking the registrations, permit situations, and potential debts. all to make sure again that you are buying what you are thinking that you are buying. And this sometimes can be a long process as the law and regulations in Portugal can be quite complex, especially if the property is in the inheritance of multiple family members. As an example, once we faced 12 heirs from one property. Some of them were overseas for their entire life. Some of them even had passed away. The entire process took us almost 3 months just to have the paperwork ready. And the complexity of it really takes experienced lawyers to solve it. And this is our advice. Always work with an experienced lawyer.
In summary, understanding cultural differences and embracing it, it's a very essential aspect of thinking about investing in the real estate market in Portugal. When operating in different cultural contexts, it's crucial to recognize and respect the differences that may exist. Overall, one of the major challenges that foreign buyers face when trying to understand cultural differences is the mindset differences, so they can understand the process. For example, in Portugal, inspection before buying is not a common practice and hardly seen it tied it to the contingency of a deal, as most of the sellers won't even accept it because it takes time. And when you are constantly dealing with renovations and construction like us, you have an impression that people are not eager to earn money. Therefore, you need to push for them to give you the estimate and quotation. It's because in general, Portugal is heavily relationship-based society. You need to build the relationship before anything. Show your respect, show your intention. It is definitely much less commercial or transactional than most part of the world. And for many of our clients, including myself, at the beginning of living in Portugal, we tend to throw money at the problem. But it just doesn't work here in Portugal because time is not money here. Time is family, time is enjoying life, and time is work life balance. I guess the key point here is instead of assuming potential solutions and approaches, look for advice that will guide you through each step before you have a good grip of the culture of life and business in Portugal.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Buying a property in Portugal can be a rewarding investment, but it's important to take steps to protect yourself and ensure a smooth transaction. No matter if you want to buy a property to flip or looking for your dream home, we hope you find our presentation helpful. Feel free to reach out to us or follow us on our social media if you would like to get more insights of what's really going on in the Portuguese real estate market.